what's Mark Murphy's legacy, right? This is his magnum opus right here, the NFL draft. I mean, this is, I mean, what a way to go out to have the NFL draft in your backyard. But not only that, he's got the Titletown district, right? He's got winning football. He's got a Super Bowl championship, and yet it seems like he's in the crosshairs a lot. You always see those social media posts of him sliding down in the inner tube, going down the hill at Titletown. But the guy has left the Packers, I think, in a better position, better place than when he inherited it, which was pretty darn good to begin with.
I think all of those things you mentioned. I mean, he's a builder. He was a builder when he was an athletic director at Northwestern and at Colgate. He does a lot of that. And you wouldn't have had Titletown. I mean, they had something like that on the books, but he refined it, and his team that he built refined it. You've got all of the stuff at Lambeau. You've got the Super Bowl. I actually I've said this a few times, when they won the Super Bowl, he really became much more comfortable in his own skin, Mark Murphy. The pressure was off. They'd won a Super Bowl, and I think he really came into his own. The draft is big. I mean, that's a big thing going out. But I think, when the Packers hired him, he had all of the things that they actually needed at that time, whether they knew it or not. He had the NFL connections. He was more of as much a businessman as he was anything else, but he's also a football guy. There are no team owners or presidents right now that I know of that ever actually played a game in the NFL, so he had whatever that was good for him. So he was a perfect fit. I think he was a better fit than John Jones probably would have been, given all of the things that the NFL has gone through during the 17 years that Murphy's been president. So I think, you talk about back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I think the Packers have had back-to-back Hall of Fame level presidents. Yeah. I think policy has the potential for that, but we'll see. He's got to do the work.
Rich brought up a good point. Winning that Super Bowl did, he stumbled a little with the Favre situation that happened. Winning that Super Bowl, I think, did make him more comfortable in his skin. I still think there were some more ups and downs. There were some real issues within the building around the time that McCarthy got fired. He a couple things really went his way and solidified the last few years. And one of those is, Brian Gutekunst was on a flight to Houston about to become their general manager when, he decided, I'll call him and I'm going to offer him the job. And that was the right decision. If he'd have lost Gutekunst, I don't know where they would have gone from there. Then I think picking Matt LaFleur as his head coach, and he was really the one who probably spearheaded it more than anybody else. If he doesn't pick LaFleur, then I think there's trouble. Following where McCarthy was, if LaFleur doesn't come in and have 13-3 seasons right away, there could have been a little bit of trouble. But as he's coming out, he's coming out on the right side of his career, and he's going to go down as having had quite a successful run, or at least the team having quite a successful run.
Real quick, two things can be true that are a little contradictory. One is, 2 Super Bowl wins with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks over the last 30 whatever years. It feels light, and he's a part of that, part of the second half of that. He stuck with Ted Thompson too long when Thompson was clearly deteriorating physically. But I think I looked this up sometime in this offseason, and I think they have the best record in the NFL since '92. It's either best or second best, and it's basically them, New England, and Pittsburgh way ahead of everybody else. and so obviously that's including other, presidents and regimes. But they've been good. They've been a contender almost every year, and in the end, that matters. Championships are first, but being good is important too, and it's hard to argue with that record.
I'll tell you outside that I think the football's covered here on a personal level, and I haven't had a chance to tell this to Mark Murphy yet, but I plan to. When I moved here in 2014, moved here from South Carolina, Titletown that you see now was just a big vacant lot, right? The vision was there, but that wasn't there. And today, it is the favorite place for me to take my kids. We go there all the time. We play football in the field. It's our favorite place to go. So on a personal level, that Titletown district, I've gotten a lot of use out of that. Me and my family have. And I think that the melding together of the football, but also the business side, has been remarkable, and it's something that's impacted me.
One other thing I'll say quickly. The one thing I credit him with is that he understood and embraced immediately that the president of the Packers has got to be very different than the owners of all the other teams. He especially in his early years here, he went to everything. He was out planting trees, he was cutting ribbons, he was doing all of that sort of stuff. And when he hired Ed Policy to be the team's lawyer, the Packers have got a movie that is about Green Bay, and it kind of talks about the culture of Green Bay. Before he even interviewed him, he made him sit down and watch that movie because he wanted him to understand what he was getting into before he even talked about whether or not he wanted to be here. And I think embracing that, this is a different franchise than any other one, and he didn't try to make it like the Bears or the Cowboys or whatever.